Hi, this is Dr. Bob, and we are dealing today with questions from our fans at Facebook. And if you haven't been to our Facebook site with Faith Defenders, you ought to do that. You also ought to join our Twitter team and get involved, as well as our website, faithdefenders.com. Another question came in that's really interesting. How can you convince a Buddhist from China about inherited sin? That's a very good question, because you are dealing with what Francis Schaeffer, my mentor, used to call pre-evangelism. That is, in order for the gospel to be understood, there are certain religious ideas or doctrines that have to be understood before that. It's called the pedagogical principle that before you can understand algebra, you first must understand mathematics. If you don't understand that 1 + 1 = 2, how in the world would you understand algebra or geometry? So with a person from a non-Christian context, you have to first teach them the building blocks of the foundation on which the gospel rests. So you just can't rush up to some Hindu, some Buddhist and say, God loves you and has a wonderful plan for your life, accept Christ. And they won't have a clue what you're talking about. Now with Buddhists, Hindus, secularists, communists, etc., you will have to teach them the concept that what man is now is not normal. That God created the first human beings perfect and sinless. They were without sin, without error. They simply did no violence, harbored no hatred. You have to illustrate what you mean by sin. Hatred, greed, avarice, violence. Adam didn't beat his wife. Eve didn't nag her husband. There was no such evil in the world in terms of humanity when God created man upright. But Adam and Eve rebelled against God. And when they rebelled, this altered them. And here's the two arguments from my little booklet, A Defense of the Doctrine of Original Sin. And if you haven't read that booklet, that'll give you the details. The universality and the inevitability of human sin, error, pain, and misery are the two pillars on which the doctrine of original sin is found. The original sin was rebellion against God and His law, thou shalt not eat of that tree. They violated the law. They violated God's law. The end result in Genesis 5, and so Adam begat children in his own image, fallen Adam. We sin because we are sinners. We are not sinners because we sin. We go astray from the womb speaking lies, being selfish. You don't have to train your children, and I'm a father, I verify it. You do not have to train your children to do bad things. They'll do them all by themselves. They will be selfish, grabby, they will be self-centered. You do not have to teach them to do that or be that. You have to teach them the virtues of sharing and love and consideration for other people. The universality means there is no human being on the planet that escapes evil. Doing evil, thinking evil, committing evil. The inevitability, every human being develops in that way. Now, Buddhism has no explanation for the universality or inevitability of sin. They have no explanation for sin, and they have no concept of personal salvation or redemption through sacrifice. They would say the only problem with man is he doesn't know Buddha's path to happiness, etc. So that you've got to begin at the beginning with this Buddhist friend, and you're going to have to talk theism and teach them the Christian world and life view, that then they can begin to understand what it means. So Without God, the lawgiver, you won't understand Adam or man, the lawbreaker. Get a hold of the booklet where I defend the doctrine of original sin.